Welcome to the October 2008 edition of Ask the Commissioner with USA South Commissioner Rita Wiggs.
Hi, I'm Sarah Yetman, Senior Outside Hitter for Methodist University. I have a question for the Commissioner. How was the USA South started?
Okay, that certainly was a great question, and I brought along an expert to help me in answering that question regarding the conference and how it all began. And I have with me Don Scalf, who spent most of his career at North Carolina Wesleyan College and was one of the, what I like to say, founding fathers of the conference. So Don, why don't you tell us a little bit about how the idea of the conference came about and just how we got our beginnings?
The conference actually was formed when a group of about 5 or 6 colleges in the eastern half of the state would like to have had some competition for their students. Certainly the non-scholarship. We had about 5 or 6 fledgling schools, all new schools, basically, and they were looking to compete, have some competition, and at that time it was strictly male. We did not have any of the female competition, and so there was a gathering of the athletic directors and some of the presidents of these schools met to try to formulate some sort of an athletic conference that would not be overly expensive, and yet the kids were going to be able to play against competition from other schools, and with some good coaching coming along. It was a very competitive group.
Now, in your years in the at North Carolina Wesleyan, and also your involvement in the conference as Secretary-Treasurer for many years, what has been the growth of the conference? What have you seen, the changes over the years? And I know there are probably too many to really, but kind of the highlights. Of course, one would have been the addition of women's athletics in the early 80s. But what have been some of the major changes you've seen?
The conference began to spread further up into Virginia. Some of the schools have grown considerably and have withdrawn from what we call the first Dixie Conference. Now, in the early days, in the first half of this time period that we're talking about, it was strictly all male competition. And then we began to branch out and have female competition. We brought in the women's programs in tennis and in basketball and certainly in volleyball and several other sports, softball I think also. But the conference has really grown, but then at the same time we have had some that have withdrawn and have gone to higher areas other than just the competition that we were offering.
I think from the very beginning the conference was intent on being non-scholarship and providing the athletic opportunities for them as student athletes and not get involved with the scholarship element of it. So they were one of the first Division III conferences when Division III was established. I think the other things that we've seen with the conference is obviously the addition of a full-time commissioner. The conference first went to a part-time commissioner, which you were involved in that hiring process, and then probably 4 or 5 years later hired the first full-time commissioner, and now we have an assistant commissioner, conference office. We really upped the ante when it comes to our awards programs and trying to honor our student athletes from an academic perspective as well as from an athletic perspective. As Don said, we've grown. Our name has changed to USA South, and we did that about the time that we started the conference office. We've added football, we've added women's lacrosse. I think football has been a great addition to the conference, added a lot of excitement and enthusiasm. So we've really grown in many ways, upward, outward, and over the last, since 1963.
seems like 63 was a long time back, but we have grown very nicely from the standpoint of competition within the schools. The competition has been near equal in any direction you want to go with any school, with any of the colleges. It's given the student athlete a chance to compete in some competition that they probably would not have had, but we did make a provision of having better competition all over the conference, and the schools began to support more. We think that the faculty became more excited about the things that the students were doing in each of the member schools. And if you'll go to a competition right now at almost any of the schools, you'll find a good many of the faculty there in attendance. And I think that's a real good thing for the student athlete to be on the field or on the court and look in the stands and see one or two or several of their professors cheering them on. So it's a little different picture now from what it was in the earlier years, and it's getting better and better.
Well, Don, we thank you for being here today. It's always a pleasure to see you, and especially to have an opportunity to visit with you and talk a little bit about the history of the conference. Thank you.